Hi there, it's Jess. I'm here again this week with the Relationship Reality series. And today we're going to be talking about stuff that has a bunch to do with several different things, whether it comes to intimacy and trust and communication. It's kind of folding all of those into one. And so I'm responding to a woman's question. Her question is, Jess, why do I feel jealous when my boyfriend shares personal stuff with his female friend? And this is kind of one of those really common questions. It comes up a lot with my clients and really anybody that I speak to at different stages or phases within the relationship. Something really kind of connected with that has to do with your partner or yourself having friends of the same sex or of different sex, and how that feels for each of you within your relationship and what that's actually really connected to. And so something that you really want to be able to explore when you're wondering about this is what your sort of relationship, what kind of intimacy, what sorts of ways do you and your partner share with one another? Because a lot of people get concerned, feel threatened, they feel jealous, and fear really kicks in, especially when they're noticing that their partner is sharing and opening up a lot more with another than with you. And that's usually one of the bigger things that kind of stands out is if you're going to be sharing all of this about yourself with someone else, then why aren't you doing that with me? Like, why aren't we doing that with one another? Some people even ask, like, why are we in a relationship then, and an intimate relationship, if we can't actually open up with one another? And so, some questions that you're going to want to ask yourself when this comes up is how much and how comfortable do you and your partner feel sharing with each other, and feel comfortable sharing your personal thoughts, feelings, stuff to have to do with your inner world. Because that's what happens when we see our partners interacting with their friends. We see kind of more of a relaxed sort of sharing and really kind of talking about what's true and real for them. And that's essentially what we long for and what we really want in a relationship. And so you're wanting to notice, is this something that's actually happening for us? And the more that you can notice that these things are happening, the less of a threat it actually becomes when we can see our partner is also doing this with another, or maybe doing it even less than what they're able to do it with you. So you're going to want to basically look into that a little bit more. And that's actually something that naturally just happens when someone comes to me and they're talking about feeling threatened by another woman or another man. They automatically kind of go and look at, well, do we do this or do we not do that in our own relationship? The other part is considering how much each of you support one another, boost one another, give each other attention, kind of give each other positive reinforcement. That's another thing that really draws us to connect with other people, is to be able to get that sort of attention and treatment. And so you want to be able to look for yourself, is this something that we're doing within our own relationship? And so it becomes kind of really important to ultimately evaluate your own emotional intimacy, your own ways of deeper sorts of connecting, and really exploring that with one another and having those sorts of conversations. And so if that's something that you are discovering that you really want with your partner and it's not happening, because more often than not, when we're in relationships and we're in relationships for a long time, we can kind of go more into an autopilot mode, maybe even taking each other for granted, not necessarily really taking that time to share with one another. So when these sorts of jealousies or concerns come up, or feelings of threat come up, this is when we start to evaluate that a little bit more and be able to connect in some more and go, if this is something that we want in our relationship, then what do we need to do to make that happen more? What do we need to do to make that happen in our everyday life? Because let's face it, everyday life can kind of be going through the motions, taking care of responsibilities, the kids, whatever that happens to be. And too often we skip over how important it is to really check in with one another and be able to create that space. And the more that we can do that with each other, the less likely that we will have that deeper need to go elsewhere to share even more with someone else. And it's not to say it's going to eliminate that. And it's not to say that there's anything wrong with that. and that we don't want to be able to do that. So it's not like necessarily to replace it. It's just to be able to feel like you actually have that in your relationship as well, and have that in that real sort of intimate way that most people really want in their relationship. And so that's it for today. I have a Light the Spark workshop coming up June 5th. A lot of this sort of stuff is what's sparked, my energy for creating that workshop. For couples who are feeling like they're either kind of going through autopilot or feeling that sort of relationship fatigue, maybe even not too sure how to connect, especially during these times with COVID, and wanting to be able to deepen the intimacy on multiple levels within the relationship. So check out in my bio. I have the link for that for you to register for my Light the Spark workshop. So take care and have an awesome day.